What is happening? We have a brand new round of MTGA tasting notes. It is officially getting into the fall season 2021, which means we have 3 new wines that we're going to be getting into. This will be episode 1. We're going to have 2 more that follow up right after this, so you can always stay tuned and dive into the next couple of wines we're going to get into. But we're going to get started kind of on the lighter side of things, work our way to the bigger, bolder wines. So this first episode is going to be all about Pinot Noir 2019. Bennett Valley Pinot that's coming out. This was a year where we made a lot of changes to our Pinot Noir program. In fact, we made some executive decisions, just how things were tasting in barrel during the aging process, that I think allowed us to really capture this Pinot in a much bigger, kind of better light. And that was largely the reason why we started making a single barrel out of this wine in 2019 as well, because of some of those slight tweaks that we started making to the program. The biggest change was the aging time and kind of how we do things. Because normally our Pinot Noir has gotten bottled up in the springtime, usually after 16, 17 months worth of aging, and then it is released the following spring. So you're talking a good 28, 29 months total when it is all said and done. So that barrel aging was really extended a little more. We definitely had that full year in bottle, because I think some of you might remember our 2015 release. When we released that pretty quickly, it was intense. It was like, oh man, we need to let this thing chill and like do its thing for like a few weeks or a couple months before we start getting into it. So we've really been diligent in extending that aging time to make sure that we get it where we want to go. Now, in 2019, we actually shortened up the barrel aging side of it. So we still used about the same amount of new oak, about 30% on this guy between the different clonal selections that we use. But it really helped kind of capture this wine in a way that we weren't able to before. Because that extended aging time, it just kind of the law of like diminishing returns started coming in, where it's like, you know what, it's getting better, but not so much so that it's worth the extra 5-6 months in barrel. So we bottled this 2019 Pinot in August in 2019. So this would be, 2020 in August, we bottled this up. And it normally would have been bottled up this year in 2021. So it was a big shift. So we only did about 11 months worth of bottle aging in this when it was all said and done. But I really think that allowed us to capture this really nice, beautiful, bright style of wine that I have kind of been chasing constantly with our Pinot Noir. It put me kind of in a really good position to just get after it. That was also combined with the fact that last summer, looking into like early June, we were tasting through our barrel lots, and the 2019 Pinot was just like so damn good. We're like, there's no reason to extend the aging. Like, we can just bottle this up in our August run and just go with it. Like, let's not get in the way. Let's let this Pinot really shine and do its thing. So it was still that 33% new oak, but only for about 11 months, but we did keep it in bottle for that extra year, and it'll be about a year and a month when it's all said and done, when we finally start getting this out and about. So still, you're looking at least 24 months worth of aging time. So in total, the aging really didn't change a whole lot. We just shortened up the barrel side of things and extended the bottle side of things by a couple of months. And that has really been just an immaculate change. I'm so thrilled for that adjustment and our Pinot Noir program going forward, because it has just allowed us to really capture this wine in a really good spot. So without much further ado, as usual, you get to sit there and hopefully enjoy a glass of wine for yourself while I get into these bad boys. Now, very typical of our Pinot Noir, especially the younger guys, it's got a little bit more of that like pepper and spice. You get some of those really nice kind of bright red fruit characteristics, but this goes even a little bit darker than it normally has in prior years. Like even the 2018 and probably the 17 as well, kind of leaned on that like tart cherry, maybe a little bit of black cherry. This is a little bit more on the black cherry side of things. It leans a little bit deeper, a little bit darker than it has in prior vintages, but still has that really nice kind of bright characteristic to it. And that's something that extends really nice onto the palate. Very smooth, very approachable. I would say this is very akin to our 2017, 18, 19. They're all very similar. Just, subtle tweaks and kind of vintage variation aside, they're just these beautiful kind of one chapter after the next in the same book. I definitely believe that like 2015, 2016 were getting my sea legs under Pinot Noir. We kind of went towards that a little bit lighter, a little fruitier, kind of richer style in 15. Then we went a little spicier, a little bigger, a little bolder in 16. And 17, 18, 19, we've kind of found that groove where we're like, okay, we can run with this and let this wine just do its thing. Like we found this really nice balancing act between those first two vintages, and it's just awesome. The reason why we also moved this to our fall release rather than the spring release was, hey, this is like your Thanksgiving, like turkey cranberry sauce kind of wine. It's also, as that weather cools down, you still have some of those backyard barbecues going, maybe into late September into early October. It's still that great barbecue wine as well, with that extra kind of like a little bit of pepperiness that's in there. And even after a couple of sips, this is still that wine in our lineup that it's like almost every 5 to like 15 minutes it changes a little bit. It kind of shows a slightly different characteristic. Something kind of jumps out at you that didn't jump out on the prior sip. I actually rarely decant a lot of our wines unless it's some of the newer guys, but the Pinot's one where I'm like, you know what, a little splash of air does this wine a lot of good. Just helps it kind of pop and open up a little bit more. So not that you need to decant it, but a little splash of air, letting it swirl in the glass, or like opening the bottle and just having a small glass while the rest of it kind of gets a little bit more air exposure goes a long way in terms of just enjoying this wine for me personally. And I highly recommend even do a taste test. Try it like early on, like right as you open up that bottle, and save a little bit and try it like a half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour or so later. It doesn't have to be too long, but just enough time to get a little bit more air in there and kind of see where it goes. So incredibly thrilled with how this has changed. Something that we were only able to do about 138 cases of in 2019, so pretty small compared to prior years as well, given kind of we normally get closer to about that 150 case range. Yeah, I'm gonna take this home and I'm probably gonna drink the rest of it tonight because, I've already tapped into it, so might as well. So super excited to get this release out to you. If you've been a fan of our Pinot Noir now for a while, this is definitely gonna be in the same vein, and this is gonna be just a beautiful wine for this upcoming fall season into the winter when you're having those heartier meals and you need something kind of bright to really help tie everything together. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get into our 2018 Napa Valley Merlot coming up next, and we have our 2019 St. Viateur Cabernet Sauvignon that we're going to dive into as well. So stay tuned for those. Feel free to skip ahead to whichever video is most pertinent to you. You'll start seeing these wines coming out in the first week of October into the second week of October 2021. So keep your eyes peeled for the release notice, or check out our website, mtgawines.com, to see if these are available online. So thank you again. We'll see you soon.